Hi, good morning. Welcome all to Eng-lane classroom. Yes, we have completed the first unit, you remember that. In this class, we are going to discuss vocabulary and language activities. We have discussed some of them. Still, it is done like this to help you to have a ready reckoner. When you have a problem or any doubt concerning these activities, you can watch it again and you can make it clearer, right? Okay, now let us move on to the activities. First activity is pick out the words and phrases used to describe the fight of each warrior. You remember the warriors. Who are the warriors? The snake and the mongoose, right? What you have to do, you have to find out the words and the phrases which describe the fight of each warrior. Serious. Why are these activities included in our text or in the syllabus? To develop or enrich your vocabulary, right? Now let us see some of the phrases. Moved swiftly, it is related to snake. Struck with the speed of light, and there are some more. And again, concerning mongoose, made a feint to one side and darted swiftly. Then how can you do this? You can write it from your memory because you have read it many times. Otherwise, you can read those paragraphs and you can write it. Okay, somehow you do it. Yeah, otherwise you can pause and you can do it. Right now, let us see some phrases concerning snake. Whipped its head, it was there. Swayed slowly to mesmerize the enemy, it was there. Forked tongue darted in and out. Forked tongue darted in and out. It was the, you remember that, okay? And now mongoose sprang aside, jumped in a bit, lightning snap, and gripped around the hood. Okay? I think you have got all these phrases, and some more are there. You may write them too, right? Okay, let us move on to next activity. Read the sentence. He was very young squirrel, and his friends and relatives probably thought him headstrong and foolish for trusting a human. He was a very young squirrel, and his friends and relatives probably thought him unruly and silly for trusting a human. You see, this sentence and this sentence are same. What's the difference? As shown it here, headstrong, instead of headstrong, here there is unruly. Instead of foolish, there is silly. That's the difference. Now, how can we relate these words? Let us see. Both the sentences mean almost the same. That is, this sentence, he was very young squirrel, up to this one and up to this one. They are almost the same, of same meaning, but the words in italics in the first sentence have been replaced with the synonyms in the second sentence. Headstrong, that is the first word written in italics, it is replaced by unruly. That means headstrong and unruly are synonyms. Synonym means paryaya padam, right? For word enrichment, we have to learn synonyms, antonyms, related words, derivatives, and such like things. That is what we are practicing here, right? We will see what should be learned when we learn a word. It will be there. Let us see them. Okay, foolish, silly is a synonym of foolish. That means foolish and silly are of almost same meaning. Okay, dears. Now let us see another passage. In the spring, when the banyan tree was full of small red figs, birds of all kinds would flock into its branches. The red-bottomed bulbul, cheerful and greedy, gossiping rosy pastures, and parrots and crows cabbling with each other all the time. During the fig season, the banyan tree was the noisiest place on the road. In the text it is given like that. We write the passage using the synonyms of the words underlined. Really, I haven't seen the underline that, but we have selected some words: small, cheerful, greedy, and noises. How can you write or find the synonyms? Take a dictionary, open it, and search for the word. Look for the word small. Then you can see that small synonyms and the names. Then you can write it. Okay, cheerful. You can refer all these words like that. Certainly, it has synonyms in all the dictionaries. That's why I selected them. Okay. Now, please do it. You can pause here, and after writing, you can see the answers. Small, tiny is useful here, or it can be used here. Cheerful, happy, greedy, gluttonous. Theta Kodiyammarkana gluttonous, you know that. We have discussed this. Noisiest, clamorous. Okay? Right. Now, in the following sentence, he had never tried taming it because wild mongoose are more useful than a domesticated one. See, the question is this: what function do the underlined words perform in this sentence? You know, here it is mongoose. These two words or these words qualify or describe mongoose. These words describe mongoose, right? Now the question is, another thing is that, you know, wild and domesticated are somewhat opposite in meaning, right? Untamed, wild means untamed and domesticated means tamed. Usually wild opposite is used as in dictionaries. We can see tame, but domesticated too can be used because it has almost the same meaning of tame. Then there antonyms we vary the pagamut. Then why do these paragraphs included, or why are these paragraphs included here? To introduce you or to familiarize you the synonyms and antonyms, right? That is why they included this paragraph. Now there is the task. See, it's a very simple task. Anyone can do that with the help of a dictionary. One is done for you. See, word is foolish. Next, what we have to consider category is adjective. We have learned parts of speech. Foolish comes under the category, under the title, in the category, and under the title adjectives. And synonyms, same meaning. Words of same meaning: silly, stupid, idiotic, and witless. Next, antonym, we vary the voice. Sentence using a word. You know, dears, a word has no any sense when it stands independent. When it is in a context, then only that will get a live meaning. So you have to use it in a sentence of your own. But you see, certainly there will be in good dictionaries you can see sentence of each word, right? Its friends and relatives probably thought of him foolish, right? Here we have used it. This foolish that describes squirrel. That's why we can know that that is adjective. Sometimes, yes, one word can be used as different different usages may be there under different titles or different categories. They may come as an example. Hard can be an adjective and adverb. Then, so when you take such words, you have to write the words or the sentences in which both meanings come. As an example, he works hard. The hard is adverb, and that was a hard task. There hard is adjective. In that way you have to write. I think you got it. Then only you can say that I know that word, right? Again, sentence using the synonyms and sentence using the right antonyms. Here you can see voice is synonym and the silly is antonyms. Okay, and then sorry, wise is antonym and silly is synonym of foolish. And you can do one activity, make meaningful words suffixing, or by suffixing means putting after it, and prefixing means putting before it, just like foolish. That is really the derivatives, find the derivatives and inflections, you know that, okay. And then this is what you have to do after taking a word. And what you have to do is, you select any word, one word from the text or from the story, and you have to find out which category does it belong, and find out its synonyms, paryaya padangal, find out its antonyms, viparita padangal, and write a sentence using the word or its synonym, and sentence using a word with a synonym. That is to make the meaning clearer, yes. Then if you do this, certainly all the words, that word will be clear, and there may not be any doubt concerning that word. That's why you have to do it. And this is to develop your reference skill. So I don't want to give you some ready-made word cards. You can do it with the help of a dictionary, right? I suggest you to make minimum 10 word cards, selecting words from our course book or the story. Okay. Now let us move on. Activity 3. It was an old banyan tree. The tree was older than the house. It was the oldest banyan tree in the town. Now fill in the blanks suitably. Or before that, let us discuss this, then move on. Then we can try to fill that or do the exercise. See, dears, I remind you to watch the video degrees of comparison before doing it. After watching it, you will get a very clear-cut idea of what is degrees of comparison, right? Now here what you have to do is, you see the first one, it was an old banyan tree, right? You have to fill these blanks, right? And the tree was older than the house, and it was the oldest banyan tree in the town. And one who have watched, the ones who have watched might not have any doubt, because it is clearly explained there. Now somehow what you have to do is fill in the blanks. First one is done for you, and the adjective old merely tells us that the banyan tree is old. That is telling about a symbol quality. We have learned that there is no comparison is made. We have learned in that video. You watch it again, then you will get a clear-cut idea. Don't forget to watch it, right? Then next one, the tree was older than the house. The older is used to compare the tree and the house. Is it clear? And the oldest banyan tree in the town, that is the oldest, tells that everything there was the banyan tree was older than everything there in Dehradun. Okay, right, let's see it again. The first one merely tells us a symbol quality of banyan tree, that the order is used to compare the banyan tree with the house, and the adjective oldest tells us that no other tree is as old as the banyan tree. Dears, I have discussed these things in that video. This is positive degree, and this is comparative degree, and this is superlative degree. Okay, now you can try this one. Okay, and before doing it, I'll give you one or some instructions. That is, listen. After so as or as or in between, there will be only positive degree. You can know that, or the basic form or the symbol form. And before than and sometimes to, there will be comparative degree, and after the you can see only superlative degree. Okay, can you try to do it? Now the bird is as dash as the crow. The grey mongoose was dash than the cobra. The banyan tree was the dash place on the road. The cobra was a dash fighter. The evening was dash than the morning. The myna was as dash as the crow. It was the dash fight of the snake and the mongoose. It was one of the dash vacations the boy had. Grandfather is the dash member of the family. The mongoose darted in as dash as the cobra. You simply write the answers on a sheet of paper on your notebook, right? Now shall we see the answers? See, no bird is as. Then I have told you here positively your first form should be put here, then clever. There is no comparison. That is why comparison is there still. It is not in according to its degree. That's why as is used there. So clever should be there, and there is no than. So we cannot put the clever, right? And the grey mongoose was dash than cobra. Here than is there. Then you can see we have to put a comparative degree, that is more aggressive. We have discussed why this comes like this. We are discussing that video. You have to watch it if you haven't done it. Okay, then the banyan tree was the dash place. The is there. So there will be the meaning should be, you can think of that, but this is the simple trick, right? Noisiest superlative comes here. The cobra was the dash fighter. A dash fighter symbol. A symbol form is there, so skillful. The evening was dash then, comparative. So hot. Next one is myna was as dash as the crow. See here, only symbol form can be used in between as and as. So contented. It was the dash for the is there, so we can use superlative, that is worst, right? It was one of the two are possible here really, that is most unforgettable is possible and unforgettable is also possible, right? Most unforgettable, either otherwise unforgettable too can be possible there. And then since this is degrees of comparison, that's why I prefer this one, right? Grandfather is the dash eldest number of dice there, so superlative should be used. And mongoose darted in as and as, that is swiftly as. DS as and as is used for transformation of sentence, that will be discussed in a video later. Okay, I think the answers for all these exercises or for this exercise, the whole exercise, are clear, right? Shall we move on? Now we are moving to language activities. You read these sentences and try to punctuate them. Before that, you have to watch the video, the sentence, right? The tree was older than the house. Try to do it. After that, you will see the answer. I saw a cobra and mongoose fighting. What a spectacular sight. Will the mongoose kill the snake? Son, get down from the tree. Please answer me. Oh, what happy times those had been. What did man do to nature? Okay, done it. You look at the first two letters of each sentence. It should be capital, you know that. D should be capital. I think you have written like that. And the tree was older than the house. What type of a sentence is that? What is that? Whether it is a statement, a question, or exclamation, or something like that. We have to watch the video again. There may not be any doubt. Okay. Somehow, let us consider that. Tree was older than the house. വീടിനേക്കാൾ പഴയതായിരുന്നു, പഴക്കമുള്ളതായിരുന്നു. മരം is only a statement, so we can put a full stop here. I say cobra and a mongoose fighting. I should be capital. This one is also a statement, so put it here. What a spectacular sight! It expresses feeling of wonder, so you know there should be exclamation mark. Will the mongoose kill the snake? That's a question, So question mark should be there. In the beginning, all the letters should be capital. I am not repeating that, right? Sun, get down from the tree, sun. Yes, should be capital, there should be a comma, and this is S. Someone is telling something to someone, that is a request, request command or like that. So, it should be full stop. Please answer me. P capital, me. This is also a request, so you can put full stop here. Oh, what happy times those had been. Oh, exclamation. O capital, here too exclamation. W can be capital, right? What did man do to nature? That's a question, you know. So you have to put a question mark here, and here there should be capital letter. It is done here. The tree was, right? Here there is no capital letter because you know this is part of the same sentence. Here different sentences are different. There's a it is separated by this one. That's why we can use. In some cases we can say like that. Okay. Somehow is it clear? Yes. Clear, right? Okay. Here W can be capital yes, right? Now let us see. We can have a discussion on these sentences. Based on the punctuation marks, how many sentences or types can you identify? You see, the one full stop, this one question mark. There are three types of sentences you can see, right? And again, next one. Are the two types of sentences in the above set end in a full stop? Certainly. You can see this set in full stop and these two end in full stop. Then you can see that yes, right? Now, next question. What differences do you notice between those sentences? That is between these two and these two. Let us see. The first one is, you can see that two of them are statements. The other two are command or request. You can we have discussed it. These two are statement and these two are command or request. Okay. Based on discussion, how many sentence types can be identified? Can you identify? Then two types and in a full stop. The other one with a question mark and the other in exclamation mark. Totally there are, how many are there? Totally 4 types of sentences are there. Okay. Now next one. Which are the types of sentences you have identified? We have learned it. That is, listen. Here statement is the, command or request is the, question is the, and exclamation is the. Okay. Now categorize the sentence under these heads in the following table. You can do that. Assembly statements we have discussed, command or request we have discussed, and here question we have discussed and exclamation. You can do it yourself, but it is quite simple. That's why I showed you without giving you time. But you can do it after posting, right? Now you have to know that statement sentences are called assertive sentences. Sentences that express command, order, request are called imperatives. Sentences that ask question are called interrogative. Sentences that express emotional feeling are called exclamatory. We have discussed these things in detail in that video. Assertive, then totally there are 4 types of sentences: assertive, imperative, interrogative and exclamatory. And what you have to do is, you have to write 2 sentences for each of these category. You can do it simply. You can do it. You have to do it yourself, right? Then activity 2. See, I had built a small platform on the tree. I was not afraid. Grandfather had a very beautiful garden. The combatants were not aware of my presence in the banyan tree. I don't get any sleep at all. My first friend was a small grey squirrel. The house was not electrified. The snake slithered along my shoulder. I was no mere image cut in granite. The snake looked into the mirror and saw its reflection. There are 10 sentences here. Okay. What you have to do is you have to categorize them into affirmative and negative. Before that, you have to watch the video affirmative and negative. I think you might have watched, otherwise you have to do that. Okay. How can you do that? Negative, that will have a negative meaning, that is ഇല്ല അല്ലെങ്കിൽ നടക്കുന്നില്ല. Such a meaning will be the positive. Otherwise you can see in a negative sentence there will be a negative word. Here it may not be there. Okay, what about this one? No negative word, then affirmative. See, negative word is there, so negative sentence. Had a very beautiful garden, that is positive. This is negative. In that way you have to, very simple, you can do it yourself, right? Now the answer is given there, and after writing you may check it, right? You can see the negative word in each of the negative sentences, right? Now you see, sentences which state positive facts are called affirmative or positive sentences. We have learned it. And the sentences that express negative ideas are called negative sentences. I think it is very clear. No need of more discussion. Now look at the following sentences. Here all of them are negative sentences. Which words make them negative? See here: rarely, hardly, scarcely, seldom, few, and little. You have to identify these words. These are the negative words. In that we have learned it. That's why there's no any problem. It's quite simple, right? Now what you have to do is you have to make these sentences into negative using the negative words that we have discussed, right? Okay, you have to use these words: rarely, scarcely, seldom, few, little, hardly. The rules concerning this are described or explained in detail in that video. Then it will be clear, right? You have to watch, then it will be clear. Somehow you have to do it yourself, right? Okay, you may pause and write it. See the answers. Few students read the textbook at home. Here most of the students, negative, few students, ഭൂരിഭാഗം കുട്ടികൾ ആരും ചെയ്യുന്നില്ല, right? Next one, the boys do daring task. See, what is the answer? The boys casually do daring task, right? Next, does it rain? Next, the students have hardly completed their work. The boys rarely play on the ground. I seldom write letters to my friend. We have mentioned it. Still you have to note that few is used in the first and little also used in the beginning. But you see, the boys scarcely, there is no auxiliary, so scarcely is put before the main verb. Here there is auxiliary, so hardly is put after it, and here no auxiliary, that's why rarely is put before play the verb, and here too no auxiliary, seldom is put before the verb. So it is clear, I think. Now what you have to do is read these sentences and make them into negative. But one thing is there, the meaning may not change. And one hint is here, you have to include or replace one word with its antonym. It is very simple here. As an example, Rani is tall. Rani is not short. What to mean? Same. റാണിക്ക് നീളുണ്ട്, റാണി കുറിയതല്ല. What to mean? The same. In that way you have to do it. First one is done for you. Jack always agrees to help his friends. Jack never disagrees. Agrees antonyms disagree. So it has the same meaning. Then you have to try to do it. I help you, giving you the antonyms that you have to carefully, carelessly. Prettier, that can be uglier, right? Accepted, declined, or rejected. Clever, stupider. Expensive, cheap. Tidy, untidy. Polite, impolite. Industrious can be lazy. Foolish means wise. Then you can do it yourself. Pause the video and write it. After that, let us see the answers. He never drives his car carelessly. Stella is not uglier than Mary. It can have another way of writing, but here the suggestion is there. We have to put the underline. That's why I prefer this answer. They have not declined the invitation for the party. The fox is not stupider than the checker. The shop does not sell cheap articles. She never keeps her room untidy. He is not impolite to anyone. He is not lazy. He was not a wise doctor, right? Now, sentences containing like never are treated as negative. That means never is also a negative word. You know that, right? And I think that the activities discussed so far are clear to you. Now you think of this. Consider the following sentences. The boys are playing in the ground. This is a sentence, and we have learned what is a subject and a predicate, right? So, what is the subject of this sentence? Who is doing or who does this work? That is the boys. So, this is the sentence, and the subject or the first noun phrase is the boys. What's the verb phrase? That is the predicate, are playing in the ground. How can we see that? Up to the verb that is noun phrase, which begins with the verb that is verb phrase. Clearly, yes. Now, in this unit, we are going to analyze noun phrase only. The boys, the is article, boys is head noun, and the boys, right? And we are not going to analyze verb phrase. Second sentence. The old grandfather was helpless. Try to say it. Noun phrase is old grandfather, and verb phrase is was helpless. That is article A, and they are articles. Old, that describes grandfather, that's why it is subjective, and head noun, this is the important verb is noun is part is grandfather, because it is a head noun. How can we find it? Yes, when we hide that word, that phrase becomes senseless, right? I'll make you, we can make it clearer at the end of the discussion of this part, right? Okay, so when I noun phrase can either be a single word, that is head noun. See, just like Balu is a student, Balu is a noun phrase, right? But there is only one word. Man is mortal, man is a noun phrase, but it has only one word with it, right? Okay. Otherwise, there can be more than one word. See, the boys and the old grandfather, just like that. Now, what you have to do is, you have to, before that, you have to, if when a noun phrase is with more than one word, these words will appear there. Before the head noun, you can see article A and the possessive. Possessive. Grandfathers, teachers, my, his, her, your, their, etc. Demonstrative. E kutti, a kutti, a പൂക്കൾ, a പശുക്കൾ എന്നൊക്കെ പറയാൻ ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്നതാണ് demonstrative. This, that, these, those. We use like this book, that boy, these girls, those boys, just like that. Adjectives, describing a noun. We have learned it. Numerals, denoting numbers 3, 4, 5, 6, just like that. Ordinals denoting order, first, second, last, etc. Quantifiers means with uncountable nouns we cannot use numerals. Okay, that we use sometimes we use with countable too, all, some, few, and many. Okay, these can be there before the head noun. Study well. Okay, now here articles, possessives and demonstrative, that is article, possessive and demonstrative, they are together called determiners. Then what's the determiner? Articles, possessive and demonstrative are called determiner. So a and the, or is, my, her, or your, this, that, this, these like words can be called determiners. And sometimes you see a quantifier can appear before the determiner, so it is called a predeterminer. Pre means mumbu. Predeterminant means determinant mumbu. See, all the students. See, here students had word, had noun. The is determiner. All is before that. That's why it is predeterminate. Some of the books just like that. Books had noun. The determiner. Some of quantifier. That's why that is predeterminate. Clear, yes? Now what you have to do is identify the noun phrase and its modal phrase from the following sentence. Do it. I have given you the trick, that is you check which is the verb. Here was is the verb. So up to this noun phrase from this verb phrase. In that way you have to identify. Okay, write it first. Pause and write yourself and see the answers. The magnificent old tree, because was is the verb. Here was is the verb, so up to that, that is an old tree. Was the center of attraction, that is the verb phrase. The cobra, was is the verb, was a skillful and experienced fighter. The small render room, was is the verb, was not electrified. Long supporting cable, rested is the verb, rested on the beam over the wall. Okay, dears, now let us analyze it. The magnificent old banyan tree, the article magnificent, adjective, old, you know, that's also adjective, and the head noun is banyan tree, right? Next sentence, an old tree, an article, old, adjective, and tree is head noun. I think there is no confusion. The cobra, the is article or determiner, cobra is the head noun. The small rendered room, the article, adjective on small, and adjective rendered also adjective, and room is the head word. Article a low supporting gable. A article on adjective law, adjective on support namakare. Then gable is the head word, head noun. Then how can we select or how can we identify the head noun? You can hide each word. Here you see, I am hiding a. Long supporting ability is meaningful. It has a sense. Long, you can hide or avoid or cut long. Yes, supporting of that has sense. Yes, then you cut this one supporting a long ability has sense. Now you cut gable along supporting. It is not sensible. It is senseless. So gable is the head noun. I think you got it. Now dears, a noun phrase can grow up to this. See, predeterminate can be there, determinant can be there, adjective can be there, head noun can be there, prepositional phrase can be there, relative clause can be there. As an example, all the smart boys in the class who are practicing their skit. Up to this it can grow, and again there can be more than one adjectives too. Clear, dears? Clear? Okay. Now I hope you have learned all the activities. Thank you for watching. Okay, meet you again. Till then, goodbye.